Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. This is a pre-recorded video. I am currently on vacation, so the stats for this season for Nick Schmaltz are taken after the Seattle Kraken game number 49 for the Utah Mammoth. There are 8 games which aren't going to be captured in this video until the Olympic break when this video will go live. So in worst case scenario, even if Nick Schmaltz gets 0 points in those 8 games, I hope not, I still would stand by what I would do with Nick Schmaltz. So Nick Schmaltz, 30 years old, winger, now turned centerman. It's no longer an experiment. It was always like a touch and go in Arizona. It was unsustainable. We called it an experiment, but this is the first time where Nick Schmaltz is enjoying long-term success at the center position due to Logan Cooley's injury. And I do wonder what will happen when Cooley gets healthy. Does Hayden drop down maybe to where? The 4th line, and then Cooley goes in that second line position? Or is it like a Keller, Schmaltz, Cooley first line? That's a bit of ways away, but let's focus on Nick Schmaltz. He is expiring his current contract deal at about $5.85 million. So obviously he is looking for a raise, and Nick Schmaltz is having a career year in almost every single category. This is Nick Schmaltz's peak at 30 years old. Now that might scare some people off because he's looking for a long-term contract, and what happens in your mid-30s for NHL players, usually the production starts to decrease. But I would firmly say I want to keep Nick Schmaltz. Now, the issue, obviously I want to keep Nick Schmaltz. The issue becomes money and term. I think perfect would be 4 years by $8 million, but for Nick Schmaltz, that's not perfect. He's probably looking for a longer term, like over 5 years. This could be his last contract in the NHL before he goes to like scraps of like league minimum contracts, maybe in his late 30s. But for me, I would love Nick Schmaltz to stay with the team. And there's so many reasons why. He's versatile, like I've already mentioned. Now he could play center, whereas before he saw tremendous success playing at the wing position. And you need depth. You need a lot of good players on your team. I know there is a Ginla coming up. I know there's Desnoyers coming up. I know you can probably go out and get someone around the NHL. But to be honest, if you lose Nick Schmaltz and you have to replace Nick Schmaltz, a 70-point guy is probably going to cost you Nick Schmaltz. So maybe if you just want a younger Nick Schmaltz, like 25, more in that age range, I get it. That makes sense. But I'm hesitant and I'm uncomfortable to throw a Ginla and Desnoyers in the top 6 immediately. Wouldn't it be great that you get 3 more years of like this Nick Schmaltz quality while Ginla and Desnoyers are learning, maybe in more reduced roles and more sheltered roles, and then they can grow into that top 6 role. Also, our power play units need to be way better. Our power play unit number 2 is basically non-existent. It's just a mishmash of players. So if you lose Nick Schmaltz and say, oh, well, we'll just replace him with a Ginla and Desnoyers, it's like you still need more good players on your second power play unit. Yes, you could load up PP1, but if you have Nick Schmaltz in your lineup along with Ginla and Desnoyers, now you could start to get, maybe 2 lethal power play units. We've seen how our power play just is playing awful this season. So the more quality players on those power plays, the better. And he's got this innate, uncoachable chemistry with our captain, Clayton Keller. They are the highest American duo to factor on goals in NHL history. They're up to about over 200 goals where both of them are on that goal stat line, whether one of them scores, one of them assists, or they both assist on someone else's goal. Here's some, more info and stats. His shot maps over the last 3 seasons. Here's a shot map for this season, and you can see like how many shots Nick Schmaltz takes in his office, which I have coined and said a lot this season. He knows he's like one of the few forwards who goes to the inside of the ice, to that house area, as we call it, the high danger slot area. He's always parking himself there, and that's where he's enjoying most of the success, and most of his goals are coming in that spot, both 5-on-5 and the power play. Here are his shot maps for his other 2 seasons. You could see how that color gets diluted, meaning he's not shooting as much in that high danger area. He's taking way more face-off more than ever, obviously, because he's playing center at for a longer time than usual. It's the most face-offs he's taken already at game 49 since the 2017-2018 season. And it's not like his points and all his stats are increasing because he's playing so much more. He's still averaging around the same amount of minutes of 18, 19 minutes, whether it's the Mammoth, the hockey club, or with the Arizona Coyotes. He should be beating his career high in goals, if not when this video is live, any moment after the Olympic break. And he's on pace to beat his career high in points and assists as well. I think he's going to hit 70 points this season if he continues the way he's been playing. He started off really hot, just like the whole Utah Mammoth team, and there was a bit of an up and down, 30 games, just like the whole team did. And, the past 7 games, this 7-game point streak the Mammoth are on, Nick Schmaltz has come back to life and is really producing and having a huge impact on the game. He's also getting career high numbers in 5-on-5 goals, assists, and points. And if anything, his power play points are in the dumps because the power play is so awful. He's not reaching his normal pace of power play points and goals, which is great because that means he's doing all this 5-on-5, which is so much more important to the team and so much more important in playoffs. So he's definitely not a power play merchant, if some educated fans of other teams might think that. Also, he's finally healthy. Nick Schmaltz has always had injury issues prior to this season with Arizona. If any, not even finishing 80 games, like usually around 65 games. He would always get injured for some reason. But most recently, he's taken up Pilates, taken up yoga. He's more mobile. He's moving his hips more. He's, elevating his game too. Not only is he dominating in stats, like his two-way game is incredible as well. He's always on the back check. He's great defensively. He's great at takeaways, great at lifting the stick of the opposition. He rushes his butt back, when the play is going the other side. He plays PK time as well. Like, this guy is doing it all this season. He seems to be a Swiss Army knife for Andre Tourigny, and he could be a mentor for these new top 6 guys coming in. Ginla, Desnoyers, I already said, even Daniel Boudouin. He could teach guys, how to evolve your two-way game, teach guys how to get into the inside of the ice, not be a perimeter player. So I know that we're going to sign Schmaltz if we do at his peak, but at least you try to enjoy 3 or 4 more seasons of this play before he starts to decline. And even if he declines, I feel like he could transition to a Alex Kerfoot role. Like, Kerfoot's got sneaky skill offensively, but he doesn't really play high in the lineup in the top 6, usually in the bottom 6. Unless there's an injury. But Kerfoot's great defensively, great on the PK, and he could fill in spots wherever you want on the roster. Like, Kerfoot's contract is ending this season. He's been injured for most of the season, so obviously we don't really need him, and he's making around $5 million anyways. So I feel like maybe in the later years of the contract, Nick Schmaltz just transforms and transitions into an Alex Kerfoot, defensive forward, and also a forward you could put on the power play, and a forward who could pot in maybe 10, 15 goals in those later years of the contract. Because I know I'm trying to be unbiased. We are getting him at his peak. And obviously there's bias. I've been watching Nick Schmaltz ever since Arizona acquired him in the trade from the Blackhawks for Dylan Strome and Brendan Perlini, and it was an immediate chemistry connection with Clayton Keller, and they've never looked back. They've played together for, what is it now, since 2018, so 8 years of, you can't teach that. Like, that, you can't bottle that up in some potion and drink it. Like, it is impossible to experience 8 years of playing on the same line as someone. So let's go finally to the stats that are on this board. I'm sure you've been reading them. He's already at 18 goals in 49 games played. I believe his career high in goals is around 23 goals. So like I've already said, he probably already passed it as this video went live, or any moment when they come back from the Olympics. Assists is at 26 assists in 49 games, and points is 44 points in 49 games played, nearing that point per game pace, which he's rarely done. In those injured years where he's played 65 games, he got close, but playing almost full season of 80 games like these past 3 seasons, he's not really hit that point per game pace. I think he's going to level off this season at around 70 points, which is great, and obviously a career high. His goals per 60 minutes of the ice, so whenever Nick Schmaltz is on the ice, if you do that for 60 minutes, it's not one game. It's not goals per game. It's goals per when Nick Schmaltz is on the ice. For 60-minute chunks, he's scoring 1.12 goals per 60-minute chunk, way above the past 2 seasons. His points per 60 also pretty at a career high at 2.74 and slightly higher than the previous 2 seasons. His shots per 60 minutes is high. It's a career high as well. He's shooting a lot more, and he's shooting in high danger areas, which I wish everyone else can do. But it seems like a lot of these players like to shoot from the perimeter. His possession 5-on-5 numbers, Corsi and Fenwick, they're usually always the same, but I put both of them. Some people prefer Corsi, some people prefer Fenwick. Corsi is all shot attempts when this player is on the ice. So when Nick Schmaltz is on the ice, the shot attempts for the Mammoth, they have a share of 57% of shot attempts. Over 50 is great, and 57 is pretty high. 60% is like elite levels. And Fenwick is pretty much the same thing, but it's unblocked shot attempts. They don't count blocked shots, whereas Corsi counts blocked shots. So that's pretty much the same. Look how high, like even 54 was high last year, and it's even getting better this year, like 3% increase stat-wise. And then it's way above from the last season in Arizona. Penalty differential, I thought this was an interesting stat. He draws way more penalties than he takes, and you also can't teach that, and that's a valuable thing to your team. So if you walk away from Nick Schmaltz, what if you get a guy who takes more penalties than he draws? Like, this is great for putting your team in a good position to win games. You're on the power play more, and you're not on the penalty kill more if this player is on the ice. So I like that as well. And his on-ice goals percentage 5-on-5 is 59%. Remember when I said 60% was elite? Like, this is pretty elite. Peterka leads the team with 63%. So on-ice goals percentage means when this player is on the ice, the Utah Mammoth have more goals than the opposition, and 59% of the goals. So the other team only has 41% of the goals. I've just fallen in love with Nick Schmaltz again this season. It is a great season. I know it's a contract year. He's not dumb. We're not dumb. He's obviously playing way better because it is a contract year. It is his last crack to get money. I understand this. Like, I'm not blinded by that, but still, like, the Coyotes bias in me and just the way he's playing this year, the Mammoth fans have fallen in love with him. He usually was a scapegoat, I think, with the hockey club, or even like in the last years of Arizona. He seemed like a guy people like to jump on and criticize. I'm not really sure why, but it seems like he's been void of all that criticism this year, and he's just playing unbelievable. And I think I just can't say goodbye yet to that Keller and Schmaltz chemistry. But I do know the elephant in the room is that this team needs to evolve. And if Bill Armstrong knows he cannot sign Schmaltz, or Nick Schmaltz is not signing with Utah because he's demanding more money or more term, and Bill Armstrong knows this, and he has to be forced to make a trade, I hope he does. I'd rather make a trade involving Schmaltz if Bill Armstrong knows he's not signing Schmaltz. It's better to get something for him than to lose him for nothing. So I am aware of that as well. And hopefully, if they do go down that road of trading Schmaltz, and it's an evolution of the team, I hope it works out. It would be a pretty big risk. We already took some risk in trading Moser for Sergachev. Like, Moser's having a great season for Tampa Bay, and Josh Stone for Peterka. Josh Stone's having a wonderful year with Buffalo. So how many of those blockbuster trades can you make where it's like, okay, maybe you're not a clear winner in these trades. Maybe both teams are winning, or maybe the other team's getting a slightly better reception in the trade than you. Like, I don't know how many times you can make these blockbuster trades, which is also why I'd rather keep Schmaltz and just shepherd in these new young top 6 guys in Iginla and Desnoyers. But if we do evolve and we get a great, way better player than Nick Schmaltz, like let's say a pie in the sky theory, like they somehow get Robertson, like 40 goal player, 80, 90 point player, obviously better than Schmaltz, and that would probably make our team better. So I would understand that route as well, but it's just really hard for me to say goodbye to Nick Schmaltz. I'm going to savor the rest of the games he plays for the Utah Mammoth until the trade deadline, and then if he's still on the team until the end of the season. Hopefully it includes playoffs as well, and then hopefully an extension gets signed in the offseason if they haven't traded him at the trade deadline. If they haven't traded him at the trade deadline, we should all hope for an extension, or else we just lost him for nothing. So that's it for me. This is the Nick Schmaltz's video. And unfortunately, I couldn't get the last 8 games in his stats, but it would have done pretty much nothing other than inflate his numbers and give him more praise than I have already given him. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.